Welcome to Horror Movies and Beyond, a show about reviewing horror movies for the living to understand the dead. Today, I'm here with horror content creator Narcotic Casserole, and we are going to review an outrageous gore fest horror comedy, Doom Asylum.
Oh. I just had to say this out front. Was this your way of saying thank you for me giving you Blood Diner all those months ago? Because if this is your way of saying thank you, I am so blessed to have you as a friend.
You know, maybe it was a subconscious thing. It had to be. Let me explain. I was browsing Tubi and I was trying to watch 80s horror movies I've never heard of or never seen. And I came across that and I was like, what is this? And I watched it and I was screaming and laughing and face palming. I was in tears. Man, my stomach cramped from laughing. It brought back what film used to be. Those horror 80s used to be in the theaters or the mom and pop theaters. And I was like, where have this been all my life?
Oh yeah. The funny thing is, I was a little bit ahead of you on this. I knew about this movie because, of course, I knew because it stars Patty Mullen, who, of course, I know her and love her as Frankenhooker. So I knew about this movie. It's just, as I always, first off, I didn't realize until you told me that it was streaming on Tubi. And as I've always said, there's a list and there's a big list. So, but when you told me you found it and it's on Tubi, I'm like, oh my God, I got to get to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be telling everyone about this one. For everyone who's tuning in now, just know this is perfect drunken party movie viewing. This movie.
It sure is. So this came out in 1987, and I didn't even read that it was a horror comedy. I just thought it was a horror movie, and I didn't want to read much of anything about it. And I'm just sitting there watching it, and I was thinking, this has to be a comedy. There is no way this could be serious, because I would have put it in the same category as Troll 2, because Troll 2 meant to be serious.
Yeah, there was something that told me that this was going to be a comedy when the beginning we get a car driving along with a actually pretty decent cover of the House of the Rising Sun. And then after the cold open, another car rolls up and the same cover is playing again. I'm like, wait a minute.
So to let everyone know what this is about, a group of teens are excited to party in an abandoned asylum, but have no idea that inside in the crumbling building is a psychopath with surgical tools. Okay, so this film is directed by Richard Friedman. Is it Friedman?
Friedman.
I want to say Friedman. I know. So
you know what? That would probably be more accurate.
Okay, so he directed some segments and some episodes in some films or TV series that we are aware of, like Tales from the Dark Side. He directed Scared Stiff, which I've heard of but have not seen it. Some episodes from Friday the 13th, the series, Monsters, and Silk Stockings.
What?
Yeah. I mean, it was like horror, and drama,
and
detective.
TV USA up all night.
Yeah, it was like, that was so weird. And it was written by Rick Marks. I hope I'm saying that right. And when I looked up the films that he did, I was like, what? But then you kind of understand when you're watching it, because he wrote a lot of cheesy soft corn movies. Like Brooke does Dallas and Puss in Boots, and I don't think he was talking about the one at Shrek 2. Puss in Boots.
So I'd be intrigued to see what he does with that.
Oh my God, some of the names are just like wild.
But then again, that's not particularly sanitary, a puss being in the boots. I mean, you put your feet there.
How would it fit? I don't know. It depends on the boots.
Depends on the puss.
Mine couldn't fit. It's way too big. That was probably too much.
I'm pretty sure mine could. I'm pretty sure mine could.
The opening is Judy and Mitch, and they're in the car heading to Palm Beach, going to dump her daughter because they got a settlement, and they were kissing and all kinds of stuff was going on, and they kind of in the longest car crash I've ever seen. It was like,
this played with my one thing that drives me crazy. Having been in some car wrecks in my time, I will say flat out, one of my anxieties in a movie is when I see someone look at someone else while they're driving. And I'm like, jackass, eyes on the road. I've had arguments with people when my eyes are on the road. And here these people are practically on top of each other while he's hands. Well, I think he takes both hands off the wheel at one point.
That was like, I was like, okay, this is bound. Something's gonna happen. They get into the car crash, and then you see him climbing over things, whatever, to get to her. And you see her, and her poor hand was gone. But you can obviously tell it's like in the dirt. like part of what it was like in the dirt. And he was like, oh my God, Judy. Yeah, that was pretty sad. I felt bad for them.
I did in the well, no, again, I'm like, jackass, you brought this on yourself. So no, I did not.
The one interesting detail about that is that she, I guess, passed away. Or did she? Because we see Mitch on the autopsy table, and he didn't seem like his injuries would require for him to die or be dead. It was such an odd thing, him laying there. And then these doctors were like taking his skin, no gloves, no, it was not sanitary. He had a sandwich.
Him and the guy from Friday the 13th Part 4. What is it with people being hungry while they're dissecting a dead body? I guess,
working with all that meat. I don't know.
Maybe, they maybe just read Hannibal's The Joy of Cooking. Who knows? But
they didn't even check to see if he was dead. I was like, how did he get to the table?
They learned to check pulses from Gale Weathers. But oh yeah. Well, actually, what did we have to? I have to actually give credit to this movie for all the camp factor in the movie. The gore and makeup effects are really good. The whole bit where they're carving off his face on the operating table looked really damn great. And when he looked all nice and juicy, like when he comes to, I was like, man, that is really well done. And then when you see him again later, yeah, it looks kind of rubbery, but it still looks like he's had these injuries for a while. But I was like, this is really good makeup work that they did on this movie. So you could tell they were serious you could tell they were putting money on the gore, and they knew that that's what they wanted to make it kind of stand out amidst the camp value. No, we're still going to shock you with how gory the sucker gets. And it worked.
And the guy was like, I don't think he's dead. He was like, oh, this is rigor mortis or whatever is settling in. I'm like, he getting up off the table. I don't think so. I would have left. I would have left. As soon as I seen a hand twitch, I would have left. I would not even been there. That would have been it. The end of the movie. The credits roll.
Seen way too many slashers where they think the killer's dead in the morgue, hand twitches. I'm like, no, I'm out. Done.
But the movie haven't even, like, the title card haven't even started. Nothing started. Yeah. It was just like that's what the cold open. The sound effects was so funny, creepy, and I don't know. I guess someone that was just sitting there, and they were like, we need some crazy sound effects, say less. And they were just pressing whatever, babies crying, coyotes. I don't know what was happening. It was just, and then it was like, Doom, Asylum.
Yeah. Coming right after one of the most subdued strangulations I think I ever saw. Admittedly, I would be distracted by that too, because I'd be like going, dude, how many tumors do you have in there?
Then you go back to the car with the teens, and they're driving, and they're sitting on the back of the car, at the top of the seat. I'm like, back then, safety was not an issue. Like, no one
Yeah.
cared. Yeah.
Yeah, and clearly cops are obviously totally lenient on that. I mean, I will say flat, in real life, I've never seen anyone do that, thank God. And I lived in South Florida, so and I've
Well,
never seen anyone do that.
I rode on the back of pickup trucks on the freeway.
Oh, that I have done, but just be in a convertible and just standing on the back end like that. No, I've never done that before, or never seen anyone do that before.
So these teens are going to go hang out at an abandoned asylum, and it's Jane, Kiki, Mitch, Darnell, and Dennis. When you pay attention to each one, they are exactly how a horror movie, was it a trope, a cliche, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
You got the blondes are dumb, then you got the smart girl, and then you got the black guy, he gonna die first, and then you got the nerd. I mean, it was just so I was like, wow.
And I had to be thankful that this time it wasn't a sci-fi nerd; it was a sports nerd. Thank you, because I don't condone geek stereotypes or geek face like Big Bang Theory, but that is pretty much what sports fans look like. Though I don't know if my brother. Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if anyone's going to carry around their valuable baseball cards with them like this guy did.
I mean, he was serious about him.
He was
very. I've never seen anybody that serious.
But not so serious that he doesn't put them. I was a card collector, just not baseball, but you put them in the plastic sheets with the little individual slots to keep them fresh or intact and kind of thing like that. That guy, Bush League, totally. I had the Marvel Masterpieces Fleer Ultra with the gold foil, kind of thing, all perfectly protected. This guy, total lightweight.
Well, so on their way to the asylum, they stopped where the accident. Okay, this is where I lost it because
I think I know where you're going.
They stopped at the area and they're walking. You know where I'm gonna go with this, right? And they're still in the car. The three are still in the car. Not Kiki, Mitch, Darnell, and Dennis are still in the car, and Mitch and Jane are out there, and then she finds a mirror. She's like, oh, it's my mother's. And the conversation between why you doing that? The conversation between her and Mitch was insane. And then he was like, God, he was so dumb and indecisive. I know I'm indecisive, but this guy takes the cake. But when she was like, can I call you mom? I was like, what? I had to go back and re-listen to that because I was just like, wait a minute. I thought she was being sarcastic. I thought she was like, well, can I call you mom? Because I'll protect you. I'll do this for you. And then you got the three kids that have no sympathy. There's like, she died 10 years ago. I'm hungry. I'm like they didn't care.
I mean, let's take this back for a second now. The fact that the boyfriend actually says, I'll be your mother. And then repeatedly throughout the movie, she's actually calling him mother.
Yeah.
And here he is like trying to bang her in the process while she's calling him mother.
But that was the thing. Like that was the first thing. I was like, it must be a sarcastic. That's how I got it until later. Once they get to, oh my God, once they drive to the asylum, then the sign falls and coyote sounds and jungle noises. It was like it was Jumanji. I'm like, who's doing the sound, the score? It was wild. It was just wild. Oh my gosh.
And if this insanity isn't enough, apparently this derelict asylum is a hotspot for social activity because it's also the rehearsal space of a early prototypical goth metal thrash band.
Which was kind of confusing because
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, was that a Soviet Union? Like, what
Yes,
was
it
that?
was a
Okay, I
social.
was like, what?
All right, let me digress. All girl goth metal communist.
It was wild. She was screaming. There was no music. It was
Yeah.
just screaming, and part of her hair came out. She was so screaming. Did you see the part of the wig? It like tore off, and then there's a scene where it's back on. It was just wild. There was
um
okay. We even got to the good part yet.
for everyone up to this point, you have to come to the realization if we haven't gotten to the good part yet, and this is the stuff you're already hearing about this movie's insanity, if this hasn't sold you on it yet, wait till you
And
hear what we got for you next.
and I know we're kind of spoiling it, like we're saying things, but you have to see it because it
Yeah.
doesn't. What we're saying, it oh, I don't know.
There's a level of insanity in this movie, and even better, and I'm happy that this is a deliberate comedy because it just tells me that the people who made this movie just really get comedy and just enjoy
Mhm.
going for it with every joke they're throwing at you. Because just to know that all the jokes they're throwing at me are stuff that was like normally in a movie like you have normally to see a movie like this in the horror genre, a lot of the hilarity is just accidental because it's schlock from well-meaning but inexperienced filmmakers. But this case, I was like, no, these filmmakers know exactly what they're doing.
They did, and
They
it
did.
kept you and you kept you entertained. Like it
Yes.
wasn't like it's ridiculous and it's outrageous and it's just like face palming and laughing, but you want to see what happens next. You're kind of glued to the screen,
Yeah.
invested, if you will. Darnell decides as they're walking to get to wherever they're going to hang out. I don't understand why they were there. I mean, even
Yeah.
anyway, he gets in contact with the drummer. I think was she Godiva or Rapunzel, or was
Yeah.
the other one Rapunzel?
Godiva. It was Godiva.
Godiva.
Yeah, I think she was Godiva.
Yeah, and they fell madly in love, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
didn't they
Yeah, not
run?
just in love. Oh yeah, no, they fall in love in the classic slow-mo running to each other
Like,
through over the pasture, kind of like that hallucinogenic sequence in Ganja and Hess, except they're wearing clothes. And but even funnier is that the framing is so bad, where Godiva is running off frame. Her entire upper half is running off frame.
they didn't care. They just sat the camera there and said, "Just run to it."
And even better, it's a love montage so nice they did it twice.
They sure did. Oh my gosh, it was just. But then it when they were running to it, they didn't even look right. It just she looked so. I don't know. Like I don't know what they were
Well,
doing, but
you can tell they were not experienced with slow motion acting because the problem is when you're running at normal speed and you're not cognizant of how your face looks when you're running, a lot of times it's going to be like, that's how that looked.
it and it looked worse than what he was showing. That was tame compared to what was really happening. Oh my gosh.
It's like
Okay.
I would have rather have been approached by the mortuary vampire from Blackula in the corridor than this one.
Oh my gosh, it was just so crazy. So they reached their destination, and I'm thinking, oh, they're going to sit and chill and talk. I was trying to figure
Mm.
out why were they getting out of their clothes and why did they have bathing suits on, because there was no water, there was no lake. I don't think there was a lake around, and they were just laying there, and their bathing suits were so skin tight and
Yeah.
hiked up. I thought I thought everything. I thought the cooter was just gonna fall out because
Mm,
it was way too small. I was like, I couldn't even fit mine in there. I'm like, how in the hell were they?
yeah,
Like, I would be so uncomfortable. That
yeah.
was it was so weird.
I, well, it's one thing that they decided to bring their swimsuits to go sunbathing at a derelict, again, a condemned, derelict mental asylum. They are going to get all kinds of diseases alone just from that idea. Forget the killer that's been living in there. They're going to die from all the diseases they're going to accumulate just from the fact that they are not protected. And I
It's,
have done low budget filmmaking in condemned buildings, and we are terrified to even sit down in those things.
and it was a real condemned building.
Yeah.
So asbestos, what else could have been lurking? Black
Oof.
mold, maybe.
Tetanus. Tetanus, most definitely. Oh
And they were
yeah. It was
walking
just,
through it and touching the walls and doors, and oh
yeah.
my goodness.
But they were wearing their sneakers, so they did think about that.
Well, the girl was wearing her heels the
Oh yeah, Patty
entire
Mullen was
time.
wearing her heels, but I mean, but they weren't spiked, so she was at least that cognizant of safety. I'm kind of
Uh,
shocked they weren't spikes, but yeah, but Kirsten Davis, oh no, she was wearing sneakers. I was looking, and that's the funny part. It's kind of like going back to Dwayne's naked run through the street in Basket Case, where he's running, naked with his feet open. And I'm not even thinking of the flapping dong. I'm thinking of like, dude, you're running down a New York street barefoot, and this
ooh.
was the exact same thing I was thinking. Like, oh, please, love of God, please let them be wearing footwear. Oh, thank God they're wearing footwear. Okay. That's the most intense part of the movie for me. Were they wearing footwear?
Oh my gosh. You know what? That's scary. I would not. I see people walking around barefoot, like even out here where I live and at the beaches and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just thinking of needles,
Yeah.
glass, bugs. I don't know. Parasites. I watched a
Yeah.
lot of horror movies to know that it just takes one little parasite or nick of something and you're toast. You're toast.
Exactly.
So now we're at the point where the band, what was it? The tits? Like, what were they called?
I don't
I
remember.
didn't even write it down. That was the
Tits.
only thing it was, Tina, what was her name?
Yeah, Tina.
Tina
Yeah, Tina,
and
Godiva, and Rapunzel.
I don't even
Yeah.
remember the name of the band, but they decided, oh, we're gonna get them back, and so they filled up some condoms. She was like, make it big and hard. What? She filling them up and they throwing them at them down there while they're trying to relax.
Yeah, well, actually, the thing I'm more terrified about is that what she was filling them up from. I mean, what water is still pumping in there, and how filthy is that water?
Yeah, you know what? Wait, that is a good question.
Yeah.
Ew, I wouldn't have drunk anything
Ew.
there. Yeah. He was
Oh
throwing
yeah.
like condom filled tetanus.
Yeah.
So they're getting wet, and the guy's baseball cards were getting wet, and he was screaming and hollering, "I'm all wet!" And then, oh my gosh, picked up the broken condom, and then he showed Kiki talking about what did he say? Like, that you want to try, or what do you think? And she's like,
Yeah.
incest. I was screaming. I was
Yeah.
done.
She was actually serious about the whole mother thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
when you
God,
know
no.
that, because you think it was a sarcastic moment earlier. No, she
No.
was serious.
God. Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like that level of insanity. There is no way in hell screenwriting could be that bad. This had to be deliberate comedy that they were coming up with.
I'm convinced there was no script. I don't
That is also a very real
not with
possibility.
dialogue on it. I just feel like they just said, "Hey, say something and we'll record it." At this point.
These could just be the most talented improv actors like around. It's possible. I'm
Yeah.
willing to accept that if that's the case.
I mean, if that was the case, if you do find that out, that's cool because that takes talent in
It really
order to
does.
keep something going, because it felt there's no way someone wrote this down. But
Oh yeah.
somebody kind of did, though, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever. So at this point, Darnell was having his moment of remembering the drummer, like, I'm gonna go check her out or whatever. And he went, if I don't come back, don't go looking for me. I was the first thing I thought, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's the first
And
to go.
and it made me sad. I was like, no, Darnell, just it breaks my heart to see love cut off before it could blossom.
I
Just
know. I was kind of hoping they would have met at least.
at the very least, just had like, and even better, not have it be like lascivious or lewd or like, they start banging somewhere in a corner. I think it would have been adorable if they would just been like total puppy love the entire
Yeah.
time, just making little schmoopy sounds at each other the entire time. Just make it the most anti R-rated horror romance. Make it the most G-rated thing possible because that's what they were doing the entire time. It's like, oh,
But he never got a chance.
yeah.
No.
No, the
He got
killer is a bastard for cutting off such young love. Such
but
beautiful
they
young love.
but it wasn't just the killing, it was the whatever they were saying, what they were saying while they're being killed. He's like, when he was getting his head,
Yeah.
when the killer came up behind him and punctured his head, and then I forgot what he said. What did he say? When he was telling the killer, was like, I didn't even write it down. He was like, oh,
Yeah.
you could have just said no, or
Yeah.
it was so random. Oh my gosh.
Let me see if
Now
I can
we
find it.
finally see the killer, and he has his
Mm.
one little one-liners. Now at this point, he's been there. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And his
10
wounds
years.
never healed.
But no, he decided to go the Phantom of the Opera route. Sit in his den and teleport back and forth while he's watching old movies that just seem to fit the context of whatever's happening right then and there in that moment.
Did you recognize any of those old movies, or did you look them up? Because I was going to look them up, but I was like, maybe I don't want to. I probably
possibly. Yeah,
I
I have no recollection of any of them, but let me. They definitely had like old Hollywood. Definitely, I wouldn't say definitely not Hammer. I'd probably say like 40s, 50s era Universal, or definitely probably heyday Universal B movie fare. That's entirely possible. I wouldn't be surprised if we look through the credits. The credits would probably have like clips of this movie. This movie,
yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
They probably would. They probably have to. I can't imagine they'd be public domain. So, but the thing, it just cracks me up that I think just the fact that they're there, just the fact that we have these random cutaways to Mitch the killer sitting there watching these movies while all this crazy stuff's happening all around them, and these random things that are happening involve him as well. So he's got to be teleporting back and forth. I think he's probably like stepping away when it's the commercials, and he's like, "Oh crap, gotta go back." That's the only way, unless there's someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless there's someone else in the asylum with him watching those movies. I don't know how the hell that's possible.
Yeah, you're right, because something happens and you seeing him sitting there. It's like, well, wait, that's kind of random. And
yeah,
then he's like walking the hallways doing, killing, and then you see him back. Why? I'm like, that like that was quick. Like you're right. I think he was probably teleporting.
He's the most bipolar slasher I've ever seen. Like, oh, here I go, kill it again. Oh shit, my show's
on. After, I think it was at Rapunzel, after they then threw the water balloons or whatever. She was like,
Mm.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Well, I don't think she said it like that. Maybe she did say she
Yeah.
was going to go to the bathroom, but I think it was Tina who was telling her to do it right there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
use it so they could watch.
I want this movie to be about them.
Yeah.
I want to know what before they were like before they came to this asylum.
Oh my gosh. So she's walking around spray painting messages all over and reciting some communist
Yeah.
I don't know, republic. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, probably
She's
something
talking.
probably something out of Karl Marx, I guess.
Yeah, and so after he then killed Darnell, he's washing his hands with some acid. What or no? Or was the acid in the other one? Because when they panned away, he's like washing his hands, and then it pans to show the sink next to him with some acid. And I was like,
yeah.
Wait, is he washing his hands with the acid?
I think I mean, it may be, with this movie, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, for all we know, his pores just got really clogged, and I think he just really needed some deep exfoliating agent in order to really get in there. This is my headcanon.
Yeah, it explains why his skin was probably still like that, because after 10 years, and I was thinking, none of it healed, something is happening. And I think he was just opening the wounds again. He had to keep them clean, like you said. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he hears her, runs in the stall. She goes in there, spray painting and stuff like that. And she thought it was Tina, right? In the bathroom, even though she didn't walked in the bathroom. It's like, girl, come on now. You cannot be that clueless. Like, it was just odd.
Yeah.
And she opens one and he comes out and they're fighting, but she's saying like the most wild stuff, but the fighting was just so slow-mo. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And
go
ahead.
Oh no, I was like, yeah, just my brain is immediately going to another fight that takes place.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, we gonna get to that fight. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm all over. That's what this movie's doing to me. I'm like all over the place because there's so much wacky shit going on.
But again, he dumps her face in the sink.
Yeah. Which again, God. Again, my brain just keeps going to the safety of these poor actors because I hope to God they sterilized every single angle of it. That just scares me. I don't know. I may be becoming a hypochondriac or a germaphobe in my early 40s, but yeah, that was the bit that was freaking me out.
I think we're just adulting. Like, we're thinking, like, if we were younger watching this, like just say we were in our teens or whatever, or our 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're watching this, we wouldn't care. But instead of we're looking at the horror. This is funny, but then we're like, did they wash their hands? Did they clean that? We're like,
it's even worse. It's even worse if you have any experience working on a film or if you've ever made a film in your time. Behind the scenes work, and the lower the budget, the certain aspects of the production that need to be cut, corners that need to be cut. And I'm worried about all those corners that needed to be cut.
Because that was Asylum water.
Apparently, one bit of trivia I did find out about this movie is that it was shot in 8 days. So yeah,
that was a lot going on in 8 days. If you really watched it, it was a lot going on. Wow. Ugh. Well, when he showed her face, it was just eyeballs and skeleton, and it was pretty cool. Again, she got messed up pretty good.
Again, amazing gore effects in this movie. Just like I think, and I love that. I'm a big fan of making people think that lowering people's expectations and then hitting them with something that just looks really damn good like that. Just I love that. I live for that.
And at this point, they're still outside. The teens are still outside.
Yeah, Mike is our strapping matronly or motherly our matriarchal hero. Mitch is our killer. Yeah,
Mike is so. Oh, he's so. I don't want to say the D word. I want to say not dumb. I don't know. He's not dumb. He's just.
What would happen? He's what would happen if they made a movie around the little wooden boy from that one episode of The Tick. He's just a big block of wood with a big happy face on it.
He can't make a decision.
Yeah,
like
not at all.
He'd be like, maybe I'll think about it. Probably. It's like, just do it.
Commit, buddy.
It's so frustrating. Yeah, he just can't. I don't know.
Yeah, he just can't. But in the midst of in the midst of the search, he ends up getting to the roof where Tina is, and they engage in.
We're almost there.
Oh, we're almost there. I'm getting excited.
That is the best part. But here's the second one. I think this is the second best. When Dennis is sitting there and his baseball card grew wings and fly away, and as he's running to get it, you could hear this. I don't know who was doing the special effects, but it was like whoosh, and you see it like flying away, whoosh. I was like whoosh or whatever. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, they just gave up at this.
During certain points, I could have swore I saw like fishing filament attached to the baseball card.
He's like, oh man, come back, and then he'll recite who kind of cards oh my god.
He's listing off baseball stats about that specific card, about whoever's on it. He's like saying, don't run off like you did in the ninth in that inning, or something like that. I was like, who are you saying this to? The card cannot hear you, my son. No.
Well, apparently the card knew to go into the asylum, go up a flight of stairs. I was like, wait. And then when the door is Dennis is in there, the door is wide open. The killer shows up. He doesn't run away. Door wide open. Standing there and get drilled up in the head. I was done. That drill, that was badass.
Yeah.
It looked freaking real.
Yeah.
It did.
Best drill in the head. I mean, I've seen some good drills in the head. I mean, Phantasm, City of the Living Dead, but that one was especially well done. Yeah, going back to the Gore. But yeah, actually I even put a note like, oh my God, that drill.
It looked real. It looked, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. So
that does blow my mind. I mean, I'm trying to remember, wasn't it a profile shot? I think when they did it?
No, it was dead on. Not dead on, but kind of sideways. And he was getting closer, and then it just touched him. And then it started drilling, and it looked like it was being pushed in, and the wound was opening. Yeah. And the blood was pouring, and you're looking, it's close up, and you see his face. It's not a puppet. It doesn't go to another. I was like, whoa. Okay.
Oh, and I was like going, I'm wondering if they did maybe a layering effect or something like that, like in editing, like maybe like possibly, I don't know. It was one of those great slates of hand where I'm like really kind of intrigued as to how they pulled that off.
There was no cuts at that. I mean, there was a cut to when they got close and then the drill came. But once you see the drill in frame and his face, like dead, like kind of sideways, there was no cuts. It just went straight in. And I was like, whoa, I hope but then when I looked up his IMDb, that's the only film he did. So
that makes me sad, but at least they can look back on their life and say, you know what? I did that.
Yeah, but was it real? Because he disappeared right after the film. He did no other movie. That's it.
Yeah,
Mm.
maybe he was like, I've seen all I need to see. I,
His
you know,
acting was terrible, but this is the real fun where Mike was running around looking for everybody. He finds Tina, Godiva. So they're up there playing chess. Tina and Godiva playing. That was some weird chess. I don't know what that
yeah.
was.
I
Was
mean,
it
it's like,
chess?
what? It's like, do they think that all communists play chess or something? I mean, were they watching From Russia with Love and like going, or are they just really a big fan of the Bobby Fischer showdown? Or something? Who knows?
Yeah.
I want. They need a prequel. They need their own story. They need their own movie. I want to know.
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
then when Mike when Mike get up there, oh my gosh. And then you kind of see the meanness part of it. Where is, who was they looking for at this point?
Well, he is looking. Well, Mike is looking for Darnell.
Okay. And
Yeah.
she and Godiva wants Darnell.
Yeah, I think Godiva like is like going, "Ooh, I'll go look for him," because she's she's
And
getting all
yeah, because
crazy
he
for
was
him. But
like, "You must have did something to him," and she was like, "Well, where is Darnell? Where is he?" And it was so much back and forth. And next thing you know, Tina and Mike were fighting.
yeah, best I've seen since Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. But just but the bit that I have to give applaud, and going back to again my anxiety of these actors could freaking die. The fact that the actor played Mike, some shots have him dangling off the side of the asylum building, off the roof. Now, they could have tricked the angle where it looks like where they hit the safety harness or whatever, if they had a safety harness.
They
But
did have a safety harness. The second time I
okay,
watched, it was like, but you see a shirt like this, like
yeah,
you see it hanging off, but he was off the side of the building.
yeah. I mean, the only time I've ever seen like haphazard dangling off the side of the building was Deadbeat at Dawn, that had that kind of like stunt work where someone was perilously dangling off the side of a building, and you're like, how the hell did they not shit themselves while dangling off the side like that? But that was freaking me out. But clearly, he didn't have too much of a problem, recovering from it. Because do you want to tell them, or should I?
Okay, this is the part where I screamed and hollered, laughing my ass off.
Damn
Oh
mind.
my god. Okay, so Kiki, I believe, was it
Yeah.
Kiki that was screaming, or was
Yeah.
it? I don't think it was Jane yet. I think it was Kiki.
Yeah, no, it
Or
wasn't. No, yeah, it wasn't Jane. I think it was Kiki.
yeah. So this whole time he's dangling. Oh, she's like, and he hears a scream.
Kiki scream.
Yeah, and he leaped. And let me tell you, you would have thought he had a Red Bull because he leaped. The way he leaped,
As if he was on a trampoline. He just leaps. I think he actually leaps over Tina.
oh my god!
And his motion is immaculate. Like he does it in a single fluid motion, as if he was doing Gymkhana. I was like, what the?
That was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
And
I don't know.
He's brushing off the whole incident like as if he was not just perilously dangling for his life. As if he just leaps over going, the bat signal, and just running off.
Oh wait! Oh! While he was dangling, okay. Wait! We got to go back for a second there, because as he was dangling, remember Jane and Kiki were seeing him hanging off the roof, and he was screaming and hollering. They're looking, and they're like, "Don't worry about it. He'll be all right." I'm like, wait, what? What? They didn't. And mind you, they're still in their bathing suit. They're still.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're still walking around scantily clad, and Yeah, and meanwhile, Jane is in her one piece, and I'm like going, okay, if you brought this with the express intent to sunbathe, you came with the express intent to have a horrific tan line.
It's just so I can't explain anything about. You'll have a good time. It's
I
a really good time. Like you will watch
Yeah,
this and have a good time.
yeah, and the wacky thing is, most other movies would have these two girls walking around in their swimwear, and they are for the rest of the movie, and obviously, to bank on the whole trope of, or to parody the whole trope of, scantily clad women going into perilous situation. But I'm looking at this like going, they are they are totally doing this. There is not a single part of my brain that's telling me they're doing this to be tantalizing. They are doing this because they are totally being a parody. That this is pure parody that they're doing right here.
And you have to remember, she is still, Kiki is still calling Mike mom. You have to keep that in mind.
And Mike is still trying to have sex with Kiki.
But he's still undecided. Like he's still, oh my gosh. When that one part, okay. when okay, at this point, I jumped the gun. Okay, but Jane, she is walking around. She could have left. He kept walking up. It took him 20 minutes to get to her.
Yeah,
And
she
was
sees
trying to
him
give
in
him a
this.
discount
Yeah.
for
Yeah, he's like way across the room, and here she is. She's just trilling off scientific rhetoric, just as if that's supposed to dissuade him from doing anything. It's like, what?
the door is wide open.
Right? Yeah, wide open. Right? You have many outs here, and you are just sitting here trying to reason with a man who looks like old hamburger, and a guy who is very clearly has ill intent for you, and you're trying to intellectualize with him.
But she sat down.
Yeah.
I kid you not. She sat down.
Yeah. Just what was she expecting to do? Just sit down, like going, take a seat. Oh wait, yeah, come pull that seat up. We'll have a chat. It's like,
I was like this. Like she sat, door wide open behind her. She sat down and let him.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is the whole book smart character is dumber than dirt.
No one was tied up. She wasn't tied up.
No restraints, nothing.
She willingly sat down and let this man carve her a new smile. And then it went from her to that puppet or whatever that face was. And then it looked like it like turned into like was it Team America, those puppets, those marionettes? Like it just, and it was like, oh my God, this movie.
Yeah. Oh, again, this movie knows what it's doing. I mean, it knows what it's doing when you have actually a line here that we forgot to mention in regarding Darnell and Godiva's short-lived tryst. A line that just almost made me die, where I think it was Godiva says, "I'm just a lonely chocolate single too."
Oh my goodness! Now I want some Godiva chocolate. You ever had that?
Oh God, yeah. But now, no, my when you bring that up, I'm like going, wait a minute. Was Godiva chocolate around the time this movie came out?
Oh, it's been around a while, but
so, oh my God, don't tell me they called her Godiva specifically so they could use that line.
Okay, now wait a minute. Now I gotta look.
Now we gotta look.
I gotta look. I usually don't do this like during this, but I gotta look now. That Godiva chocolate. I know this is so weird to be doing this, but I gotta look.
We gotta know, people, and all of you are probably doing the same. Okay,
Godiva chocolate. So how would you know? Would you go to like
I
About
guess go
Us?
to, I guess, yeah, let's see, established year 1926, Brussels. They did that line. They called her Godiva specifically so she could have "I'm just a lonely chocolate single too."
Oh my gosh.
This movie is genius.
You know, when her name was Godiva, that was I was thinking, oh, like the chocolate. But I didn't think it was around before then or around that time. It didn't even cross my mind. I was like, oh, maybe that was someone's name and then,
You
I
know
don't know.
what? You know what? You were giving them less credit than I was. I was like going, "Oh, Godiva," so I guess they're going like Lady Godiva type thing. I my brain went there. My brain was going somewhere considerably more highbrow. You were on a better level with the movie than I was.
I can't explain it. I had a good
Oh,
time. Even the
yeah. This
second time I watched it, I was still laughing, even though
well,
I know
there's
what
a
was going to happen.
it's been talked about, and actually, me and some friends on my podcast, we talked about horror comedy, and we talked about when they do deliberate schlock, like Sharknado is a good example of that,
Mm,
and how a lot of times the problem with deliberate schlock is that they're doing it in a ho ho ho, see what we're doing kind of way.
mhm,
This one, I don't. Again, when you start this movie, you are left debating to yourself, wait a minute, was this deliberate or was this just a low talent, high ambition filmmaker? When you're wrestling with that idea throughout the movie, that means that in my opinion, in this case, Richard Friedman and everyone involved succeeded because they were very clearly making a parody of slashers and doing it in a way that was so low key. In a way, it kind of in the same vein as how Black Dynamite was such an amazing parody of black exploitation films, but they did it so sincerely that it was indistinguishable from actual black exploitation. So to me, Doom Asylum is a wonderful satire of slashers because you could still enjoy it as a B movie slasher, but still enjoy it as a comedy at the same time because they have such a great, obviously a love for the genre because the gore effects are so great,
mhm,
but clearly have enough of a sense of humor about it to have characters who are very clearly slasher archetypes,
mhm.
who are who are all of them, just entertaining as hell, and all of them given just wacky comedic moments that make there's not a single waste character in this movie. Every single one of them are memorable because everyone has that wacky moment that makes you remember them.
Mhm.
Soapbox done.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm glad I saw this movie now because I think if I would have
Yeah.
watched it as a kid, I would have thought this is. I won't think I would have enjoyed it as much.
Yeah.
I think I was like,
I,
oh, this is stupid or it's not funny. Like I wouldn't have caught what I know now in the
yeah.
movie.
I feel like, yeah, I honestly, this is why I feel like it's important to have, the stuff of the great horror hosts, like even, like, from Movie Macabre, Elvira's Movie Macabre, Joe Bob, because they are great at teaching people how to watch movies of varying quality and to find entertainment value in all of them, regardless. Even if you don't like the movie, they teach you the way that to understand how these movies can be enjoyed. And I think because I've been, educated by such wonderful scholars, and watching Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's how I'm able to watch a movie like Doom Asylum with the exact mindset and be able to pinpoint exactly what this movie's going for with certain prompts just from the way they delivered this movie.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're right. I mean,
So,
now there's so much to say because
so
we're
yeah,
at the end. We're about that much at the end, but there was one part that had me I was laughing. Kiki got kidnapped, blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah blah. And then we go to um Mitch kidnapped her and then he drugged Mike. Mike got put on the table and
yeah.
he's not even tied up. He's not tied up, but
No.
he's getting his toes clipped off
Yeah.
one by one.
Oh,
That was
oh.
wild.
how much did he dose you up that it's gonna?
He was not dosed up that much
Oh, he
because
was.
remember, because he had anesthesia.
Yeah.
So he finally woke up and was crawling on the ground, and then
Okay.
he threw him on the table. He was fully aware, not tied up, could move because he
Yeah.
was moving his arms, he was moving his legs, but
Yeah.
allowing, he was
Okay.
so indecisive. He was trying to figure out if he wanted to get off the table while the guy was cutting off his toes. I'm done.
Yeah.
I was like, Mike is unhinged.
I guess
It,
I guess his mind is still on the am I a good mother a bit, thing, I
oh
mean,
my
admittedly,
God.
I'd be distracted from my toes getting cut off if I were pontificating on my status in a relationship.
But you could get up. The first
Yeah.
cut, I'm moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now remember this part. Okay. This is
Yeah.
the funniest shit out of everything. I think you might know what I'm gonna say.
I think I have an idea.
Tina, she
Yeah.
saved Kiki. They're getting away. She accidentally hit some button, fell on the conveyor belt. Now she could have rolled off, got up. No one runs in this movie. Folded up in a square.
What asylum has a human trash compactor?
Oh my God. I was like, this is hilarious.
Just again, yeah. And actually, for me, I was like seeing this meat cube that came up and like going, this
With her
meat cube
hand. The
with her
hand.
head coming out, and I'm like going, this is just the Hannibal fan of me going, I think if you take a slice off of that, probably put some hollandaise sauce, I think it might be delicious. I don't know. Hannibal's ruined me.
That was so funny.
Oh my God, yeah. But I think for me, again, going back to like, why is this machine here? What use is it in what is supposed to be an insane asylum? What is this machine for? Are any patients going to get this unruly that this is what you're going to do to them?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
oh dear.
Okay, so now I guess Mike died, I don't know, from his toes being off or something. Who knows? She is the only one left. I don't think he knew that was the daughter. I think she looked like Judy. I'm Kiki, Judy. And then I think she came to her senses and said, you know what? Okay, I'm Judy at this point, because if it would have kept going, who knows, right?
You just like edit this together with the ending of Blood Rage, and you're like going, I'm Kiki, I'm Todd, I'm Kiki, I'm Todd.
The ending kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
It surprised me because she played just clueless throughout the movie, and then finally she was like, he told her, I don't know, I'm still he told her something, she didn't like it. No, he was going to, she finally figured out who he was, and he was the one, and her mom was going to ditch her off to some kind of boarding school, and that's why she got him.
Okay,
and that was kind of, and it was like it, and she just that was it. I mean, it was like she just walked away.
That's right. Yeah, she just
There's I don't know.
Like she just walks away as if nothing really happened. She's just casually walking away in an overshirt and a bikini. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's gonna have no problem getting a ride, but I just hate to think by who. But you don't get the vibe that she's like profoundly changed by everything she's just encountered.
No, like your friends are dead. Your mom was obviously killed in that same area.
Both your moms are dead.
Oh yeah, both of them. She had two moms.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was so weird. It was so weird. That was the weirdest thing in the entire movie. Of everything that was happening, that one just was weird.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Mike, the second mother, had it coming because, and you know what? Getting his toes cut off is fine because he wore loafers. I'm sorry, when I saw him pulling up, I was like going, loafers. while I love all sorts of horror films, there's particular ones that just tickle everything that I love, that the stuff that just gives me sheer entertainment. Um, I love a horror movie that doesn't take itself seriously, that goes balls to the wall crazy, that has actors who are, where everyone involved seems like they are very much in on the joke,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, the entire movie just has this wonderful energy that just tells you you're having a great time. And even the editing, even the people involved, even the editors seem like they're in on the joke, because yes, we get the same falling in love montage exactly cut the same way twice in two different parts, because they're aware, wouldn't it be funny if every time they see each other this bit happens? And I'm like, yes, that is funny. I love a horror movie that is so self-aware, but yet is so understanding of when to go far and when to pull back.
Mm-hmm.
And that this movie did it for me. I mean, it's that perfect example of how you do parody schlock and knock it out of the park. I think this movie's just freaking one. I guess a good way to, if you had gave me a press blurb, if you had me do a press blurb on it, I'd say it's the best film Henenlotter didn't direct.
Like you said in the beginning, you're kind of, well, but it clearly makes it very clear that this is
Yeah.
not to be taken too seriously. This
Oh,
is a
not at
straight
all.
comedy horror. Enjoy. And there's really nothing else. I do recommend this. It's, I think, Arrow
It is.
Video.
Yeah.
You can own it. I
Mhm.
would definitely have this in your collection.
Yes, if you love Patty Mullen in this, 3 years later, watch her tour de force in Frankenhooker. Definitely
Mhm.
support her in that as well, because as great as she is in this one, she's freaking iconic in Frankenhooker. I mean, insanely great performance. And also, if you get a chance to meet her at a con, she's so sweet. She is such a sweetheart. She is so sweet. So that's, Patty, we love you.
Thank you, Narcotic. This
Thank you for having me
was
back.
so fun. I always
Yeah.
enjoy you coming on here, and I
always enjoy being here.
I think I want
Absolutely.
to have you more often with these kind of films. I don't know, like not many people know about this type of style and could talk about it, and
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
always
Oh,
appreciative to have someone on here that is
I'm
so
always
fun.
down. I'm always down for it, because if there's one thing about as I've always said, the reason why I love horror fans the most is I've discovered there's where most times it's kind of like a well, almost like people, like there's certain horror fans that are like on the surface who are like the casuals, who are like, oh, I don't like that one, it's so bad, it's so terrible. But the deeper you go, the people who kind of, the deeper you go, the people you run into are the people who just love horror no matter what, who just enjoy it because as I've loved to say with horror, sometimes if it's good, it's good, but sometimes if it's bad, a lot of times it's better. And this is just one of those times. And sometimes when it comes to movies like this, you just love a movie that just says, I don't give a damn. Let's just have some fun.
It is streaming on Tubi, and Tubi is free, and they have some crazy, wild ass movies
yes, they do.
on there. OMG. I have a list of some that I need to watch. I mean, that I've never seen before. So that's
you told me about Rabbit Grannies. I still need to watch Rabbit Grannies.
That one is crazy.
Rabbit Grannies.
It is crazy.
Crazy.
Once again, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure that you guys can hang out with us. And make sure you follow and check out Narcotic Casserole. He's mostly on TikTok, I believe, right?
Yeah, mostly on TikTok. Find me under Narcotic Casserole. Also, if y'all would be so lovely, if you go on Spotify and iHeartRadio and search What's in the Basket Horror. Ironically, that's the way you have to type it in order to find it. Not What's in the Basket, What's in the Podcast Horror. I named it after Basket Case. But yeah, What's in the Podcast Horror. That's where my podcast is. Yes, we do movie reviews, but we also like to do a lot of discussion episodes where we just talk about topics relating to horror. We try to just, and actually right now we're in the middle of doing our Psycho breakdown, and very soon we're going to be kicking off. Me and my friend Rob are talking about the relationship of heavy metal and horror, because he is a big metalhead. Yeah, and so he is a big metalhead, and one thing we do know is that heavy metal and horror really kind of had a similar time, especially the 80s, when it came to being under fire from moral crusaders and politicians. So it was a really great discussion. So, but that's kind of stuff we talk about on that podcast. And actually, jump on, because you and me did a wonderful breakdown of Stuart Gordon's Dolls on there, and
that was
wonderful.
A good one.
That was a great one. That was a great one. No, the thing I found wonderful about that podcast is that the movie's only 75 minutes. We went on for 90 minutes talking about that movie.
There were some deep moments. Yeah.
We got real. We got real on that.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorites too. I don't like Dolls because of that movie. So
and I remember saying I actually like Dolls now because of that movie, because
not me. Nope. They're little people. So I want to say thank you everyone for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I will leave his information down below, so check out Narcotic Casserole, and thank you everybody for hanging out with us talking about Doom Asylum. Until next time.
Till next time.